We're continuing in the book of Devarim in Deuteronomy. This week's Torah portion is called Teitzei. And in it, there are 3 times where Moses tells the Jewish people to remember. We're asked to remember what happened to Miriam. Miriam, who was the sister of Moses and Aaron. And she spoke to Aaron about Moses in such a way that God afflicted her with a skin condition. And the skin condition is a result of somebody who uses their speech inappropriately. So Miriam, who is a prophetess, who was one of the leaders of the Jewish people, used her language in such a way that she's afflicted with this skin condition. And we're asked to remember that. Remember what Miriam did. If Miriam does this, so too we lesser mortals who are not on the high level that Miriam was also make mistakes, and we also do things wrong. So we have to remember what Miriam did so that we can learn to use our language well, to use our speech well, to not destroy with our words, but to build with our words. We're also asked to remember in this week's Torah portion that we were slaves in Egypt and that God took us out from Egypt. Remember that. Remember we were slaves. What does we as a nation, if we remember that, perhaps we'll be more compassionate when we see other people who are downtrodden or other people who are subjugated. So again, it's something that we learn from memory. We look back and we say, we were slaves and we know what that feels like. So we're not going to do that and we're going to fight against it. God took us out from Egypt, took us out from slavery. And in that, we can recognize and remember the kindnesses of God and how God took care of us, how God redeemed us and took us out. And so too, we can have gratitude to God for the kindnesses that exist in our lives. And finally, in this week's Torah portion, we're asked to remember what who Amalek is. Amalek was the nation that attacked the Jewish people when we came out from Egypt. He attacked from behind, unprovoked. That Amalek represents evil and the destructive forces in the world. It was out to destroy us, the Jewish people, and that we have to fight against that evil. We have to obliterate it. We must not forget it, and we must remember it. So there are 3 examples in this week's Torah portion we're asked to remember. In the Torah, there are 169 times that the injunction to remember is cited. So it's a very big part of who we are as people is to remember. And what is it that we remember and how do we remember? We remember things in our families. We remember things in our nation. We remember things in our own personal lives and the things that have been done to us and things that we want to improve about ourselves when we look back on how we've been in the past and how we want to be moving forward, how we imagine that we could be different in the future, and we can be different. We're taught that the month of Elul is a time of recreation, where we recreate ourselves. We go back to the pristine people we were with a soul that was fresh and new that came into the world. We are that person. And when we look back and we see the things that we've done that we're not so proud of and that we don't want to repeat them, we have to remember them. We have to feel how it is that we want to change so that we can move forward and be different than we were before.